How do I make myself not look washed out as a pale girl? I need some help. I need some advice, please. Like, genuinely, I'm tired of looking even more pale than I actually am. Like, I'm literally Casper, and I'm even more Casper. Like, I'm transparent on this camera. Anyway, the world's f***ed, we all know it. Let's talk about it.
Oh, hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
So today's gonna be the first time that I do like a little blind reaction type thing. I haven't watched any of this stuff yet, so I'm literally going to be getting like my reaction firsthand right here and everything. But before we do that, I want to debrief with the actual serious situation here, like the one that should be paid attention to. Kayla Malec, a lot of you might know her from TikTok, that had the really prominent freckles and bright neon nose piercings that I don't even know what she talked about actually. I know that like that's how I was introduced to her back in the day, and I would assume some other people may or may not have been as well. I just kind of moved past her at that time because I was like, oh, she's just a girl on the internet. I just didn't really care. Moving on to present day, I don't really, apparently she still had a following, but I personally don't really keep up with her. So Kayla Malec, not Kayla Smith. That's a completely different situation I'm covering on this channel. Kayla Malec, she recently made a series, a 2-part series that is 4 hours in total, if not a little bit longer than 4 hours in total. Kayla released a series called He Doesn't Love You, which details in grave detail her experience and what she went through in a very toxic, very abusive and malicious relationship with Evan Johnson, which I don't know him, like anything about him, so. But what I do know is that they were a very public relationship, one that most anybody that followed them knew about because they were not quiet about being together at all. I'm not going to speak about what she went through in this video. I also don't really know if I will wind up covering this topic further than this because I don't want to disrespect Kayla in any way. I don't want to cover the topic and miss things that are important or just not cover it properly or a way that she would want her story told. So I will be leaving a link in my description to both parts of that series that she made detailing her experience, because I do feel like it's very important for people to know what kind of signs to look out for and what to pay attention to in those kinds of situations. And that is the exact reason she made the series, is because she wants to allow others who may or may not know what to look out for to know what to look out for, and probably even be an eye to those who have been through similar situations but haven't felt the strength or ability to outwardly express how it affected them and what they went through, because it is hard to talk about. Not many victims wind up speaking about their experiences, especially not publicly. So it's very brave what Kayla is doing, and I personally praise her for being strong enough to be able to do this. Shout out Kayla. Again, I will leave a link to both parts in my description, so please go watch those, especially because this like is kind of talking about that situation. It's annoyingly talking about that situation reluctantly. Before anybody is worried or anything further, then we need to be, because we do need to be worried about that situation and the fact that that kind of behavior is being normalized for a lot of people. It's ridiculous. Do know that she did take it to court and she did win the court battle. So Evan, bye-bye. We won't be seeing you for a good minute, and probably for good reason. No, definitely for good reason. Why did I even say probably? So yes, Kayla did bring it to court. Kayla did win. You know, before anybody's anxiety spiking, just know, like, she's okay. Everything's okay. Well, now everything's okay. Mostly. Minus this. Minus this. I'm not a fan of this. So now that we're past that, let's get into the topic of this video that I haven't, like, I'm blindly about to be reacting to today. James Charles. Listen, I hate the man. I do. Personally. You don't have to. That's whatever. That's your own thing. I personally do.
Oh, why is that? Oh, why would you ever? He has such great makeup. He's so innocent. He's so funny. He's a little diva.
Girl, get over yourself. Do you forget? Do you forget? Do we forget as a society? Do we forget as a society? Because it seems like we do. It seems like continuously over and over again, specifically with people like James Charles. For some reason, we just like decide to forget what they've done. And then like they just are, you know, after being canceled or whatever, which like completely defeats the purpose of canceling. Because like if somebody's canceled and they come back, were they ever canceled? Like the purpose of cancel is that they are never seen or heard from again. So therefore, had they ever been canceled if they never disappear? Because if they never disappear, then they were never canceled. So they were... Anyway. Jesus Christ. Point is, James Charles was involved with some underage individuals who don't swing that direction, that he tried to convince to swing. He's been in Dramageddon, you know, Bi Sisters, whatever. There's so many things. There's so many things he's been involved in. And I understand not all of it. Like, I think it was the Bi Sisters thing, like he was a good guy in or whatever.
I'm pretty sure in reality it was just debunked and like proven to all be manipulation.
Also, I'm pretty sure some of the stuff in there, like he wasn't a good guy, but I don't even remember if it was all true. Anyway, there's so much. God, the internet is so messy. James has not been the best person. Let's be so for real. And any of his little minions can come at me right now. I do not care. Genuinely, I do not care. James sucks, okay? And I'm sure anybody who defends him is young and does not understand the experiences that are being entailed here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm not a fan of James for many, many reasons. There's a lot of things. And this just adds to my list, you know what I mean? Just keeps going. There's been a lot of talk on the internet recently. Apparently James Charles was caught sleeping with Evan Johnson, Kayla Malec's ex. Okay, apparently it's not true. I don't know. There's so much. Who knows, okay? I couldn't tell you. What I can say is whether he did sleep with him or not, why were you housing him? And why? I don't know. I do know a few things about the situation, hence why I want to cover the topic, but we are going to be blindly reacting together today, so hope you enjoy. I'm going to talk about the parts I know, and then we're going to blindly react to what he had to say in response together. What I know. Apparently, James and Kayla and Evan, was that his name? I think so. We're supposed to collab. I think James had reached out to Kayla and she was like, oh, no, not happening. We actually wound up breaking up. James was like, oh, what happened? Can I have him now? Can I have him now? Are you... I know you've been living in LA for a minute, but there is no way in hell you are this tone deaf. Come on. Who says that to a friend? Who says that to an acquaintance? Who says that to a person? Who says that? I have so many words to say about that one, but I'm gonna save them for later, just in case I need to. The other thing I know, apparently he was housing Evan after he knew the situation going down. Allegedly. Don't take me down, James. The only clip I've seen from this entire video is him saying he's gonna go sue everybody that talks about it. Don't take me down, James. Allegedly. Because I truly don't know anything about the situation yet. I just know what I've heard. It's all drama. Dramageddon 2.0, Dramageddon 5.0 at this point. How many are we gonna have? Why are you housing that man after you know? A little sus to me, but you know, that's me personally. The weird thing about them possibly sleeping together, apparently that didn't happen. I don't know. And there's a whole thing about how like apparently he paid her hush money, but also a lot of people have been like, oh, he didn't do it. It was never confirmed on who did it. So like genuinely we don't know who that is. So let's not assume who that is because I don't even think she specified a gender or anything. And I'm pretty sure that like, that's just, I don't know, I feel like that's been disproven at this point. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. All right, let's see what he had to say though, because maybe there's more that I don't even know about.
I do not support Evan Johnson in any way, shape, or form, and let me make that f***ing clear. I don't support him, I don't support violence against women, and I sure as hell do not support the disgusting, deplorable, violent, heinous acts that he committed against Kayla Malec behind closed doors.
Period. So far, so good. No, so far, I'm vibing with it, not fucking with it, but also you're like completely lying, James. Come on.
I really fucking hope and pray that when this goes to court this week, Kayla gets justice for what that man put her through. At the same time, the videos that I'm currently seeing all over my For You page are disturbing to me. This is not TikTok tea and drama for everyone else's entertainment. This is real people dealing with some really serious shit.
And nobody seems to care because they're paying attention to you.
The conversation has completely shifted focus away from Kayla Malec and how she was brave enough to speak out about what she went through to how James Charles involved, the downfall.
Not I'm saying literally exactly what I just said.
By Sister 2.0, where's the apology video? It's distracting from the actual issue at hand, which is domestic violence.
Yes, but also no. I agree. Kayla should not be overshadowed. Like, her story and her experience should not be overshadowed at all by any means in any proper world by James Charles possibly f***ing her boyfriend. But this is the world we live in, okay? Sadly it is. It's the world we live in and I hate it too. But also, the issue really comes in, like, why people actually have a problem with you, James, is because of the fact that, like, Mrs. Charles, come on. You were told that this guy is like, no bueno. And you said, can I have him out? I think that's like what most people have a problem with, is that you were involved with this man after knowing, I mean, maybe not specifics or anything, but you like knew the gist of the fact that Kayla went through some she went through and you knew this, and you still housed him, you still tried to go after him or whatever that is. You know, I think that's the main problem people are having with you, not... Yeah.
I have not spoken out about this for a couple of different reasons. The main one being, this is going to court this week. Anything I or anybody else says online can and probably will be used by either Evan's defense attorney or the judge to affect the outcome of its ruling. And I didn't want to put Kayla at any risk for that. I hate that I'm getting online and filming this video right now, but I truthfully have no other choice because I've also spent the last several weeks trying to get in contact with the only person involved in this that actually matters and needs to hear the truth, and that's Kayla Malec.
Okay, I'm with you on the whole, like, you didn't want to add or take from the situation thing. I'm against you with the reasoning behind why you're upset about even having to make the video, though, because I don't think that's why you're upset with having to make the video. I think you're upset with having to make the video because of your reputation. This is not the first time you're dealing with this, Mrs. Charles. James, you are controversial. We know this. You're controversial, sweet. You're a controversial queen. We know this. So I don't think you're actually upset about, like, possibly overshadowing Kayla's experience. I honestly, like, personally, in my opinion, I don't think he cares. Like, I don't think he cares if he overshadows her or not. I'm not saying he doesn't care about the situation. I'm not saying he doesn't care about his name being attached. I'm not saying he doesn't care about any of that. What I'm saying is, I don't think he cares about possibly overshadowing her because he likes publicity. He likes attention and he likes to be talked about. No matter what, any publicity is good publicity, right? That's definitely his framework of belief, I can tell you that much. So I don't think he cares about overshadowing her, but I do think he cares about being seen negatively because he is not being painted positively here, and he's been attached to many things, like, throughout history at this point. And a lot of the time he isn't the good guy, but that's the only time he really tries to clear his name. When he is the good guy, he, like, doesn't really talk about it. But when he's the bad guy, I wouldn't have me dying. And clearly, as a human being, you're gonna want to clear your name. You're gonna want to defend yourself. That's, like, normal. I'm not saying that's not normal. I'm just saying, like, his character, like the cycle of his character, the type of person he comes off as publicly to other people, he seems like somebody who would care a lot more about his reputation than overshadowing another person's story. Because he's already overshadowed people's stories. He's already done that a few times, actually. So... And he did not really care then.
Been unwilling to have a conversation with me. And frankly, I don't blame her. After I watched the laughable interview between Be Better and Zach Sellers, I wouldn't want to have a conversation with me either if I was being fed complete bullshit lies and misinformation from the person whose only source of information is the same man that lied to and abused me for 9 months straight. At this point, I have no choice other than to get online, tell my story, and then prove my story to be true in a court of law. I am suing Zach Sellers and anybody else that thinks it's funny or entertaining to get online and spread defamatory and slanderous lies, misinformation, completely bullshit, made-up stories for the sake of views, likes, engagement, and galaxies. I'm done. This also...
I heard the end galaxies and completely... Please tell me that's not happening. Please tell me that's not happening. But the way our world is going, I wouldn't be surprised though.
Started at the beginning of 2025 when I reached out to Kayla about her and Evan being in a Valentine's Day video together. She told me she couldn't. She was crashing out because they had just broken up because he was...
We got receipts.
He was crazy. I tried to lighten the mood a little bit and make a lighthearted joke asking could I have him now, and then asked what actually happened between them.
Don't skim over that, James. Miss Charles. What are you doing? I tried to make a lighthearted joke. Who, actually who says that? I don't know anybody who would say that. That's messed up.
All she told me was that he did awful things to her and that I would find out more in her 30-part TikTok series. She said she was upset that she helped build his platform based off of lies and abuse, and whenever she was healed, she was going to get online and expose him. I'm going to be so honest, I did not take this conversation very seriously. And obviously, now knowing what we all do, I should have. Reading it back now, it is super clear that she was using humor to cope, and that is perfectly fine and valid. But at the time, I genuinely interpreted these messages as a messy breakup. Maybe he cheated, maybe they got into a drunken argument that ended badly. I could have never imagined what she was actually going through behind the scenes. A lot of Kayla's own friends and family have said they had no idea what she was going through. I wish I could go back in time and been there for her, tried to help her. I wish that I would have asked more questions, but frankly, I didn't feel comfortable doing so.
I can understand, I guess, why he would take it as like, oh, it was a messy breakup. Because like a lot of people do get very in their emotions and in their feels and say a lot of things and like feel like somebody is like a Disney villain or something. Like people will genuinely demonize people sometimes in their own mind, therefore they start doing it to other people and saying these things to other people sometimes and whatever, right? I get where he's coming from with that, but also like who would sit there and say imagine the worst things a person could possibly do to somebody and say that they're gonna make a who the fuck did I marry series? That would make me personally question some things. And I also still, even without that, would not have said, can I have him now? You're crazy. You're weird. That's weird. I'm sorry, but that's weird. He's from LA, okay? I mean, he's not from LA, I don't think, but he's lived in LA for a long time. So, you know, and a lot of people out there are a little bit different. I'm from the East Coast. Hey girl, hey, I don't fit in over here either. You know, LA is a little bit different. Etiquette is a little bit different than what I myself am used to. And the etiquette I'm even used to is that's different than the people around here on the East Coast are even used to. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I don't know where I belong. Anyway, it is like influencer era galore, and a lot of those people apparently are just like super out of touch. So I don't know, that's been something we've been working up and realizing for a little bit too long now. So maybe, just maybe, he's like in an area or like around the kinds of people that don't really take anything seriously. Because like, I get it, girly, I get it. As like a young person in this world, still trying to figure things out, I have met quite a few different people who just don't take anything seriously. It can be obnoxious. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be honest. That's my own personal opinion. I'm sorry. I like a good joke here and there, but if I'm gonna tell you about a dog dying and you're gonna laugh in my face about that as if I'm telling you a joke about Santa Claus coming to town in the middle of July, I don't know if I can fuck with you.
I also didn't think about this until editing. Even given what he knew in this moment, why would you still want to go after him? You know what I mean? Even if you weren't suspecting much, why would you go after your friend's ex? Like, your friend's ex that you suspect might have cheated. What makes you interested in that? I mean, unless you want a quick hookup, but also, like, go after somebody else. Why your friend's ex?
Secondly, me and Kayla Malec just weren't close friends. I don't say that to take away from her feelings about this. I don't say that to undermine what she went through. We've only met a couple of times. We collabed in 2023. She guest starred on a podcast with me in 2024, and we hung out at our mutual friend's Halloween party back in October. We've never hung out one-on-one. We've never had a deep conversation. I just really didn't know her that well to be able to interpret these messages and have a better idea of what was actually happening behind closed doors. And I wish more than anything I did, because I should have never gotten involved with this, but I did not know what she was going through. I really hate to admit it, but I did have a brief friendship with Evan Johnson that started and ended.
So I can kind of see where he's coming from here, but like still, even if you guys aren't close, you can, I don't know, maybe that's just me. I read between lines a lot. So when it comes to how I connect with other people and they're talking to me, well, if they're talking to me a little bit different, even if I've met them like twice, I can tell. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just a few select people in this world. Maybe it's not common. And I understand that. I'm not gonna hold that against him there. But there are a lot of things here, man, to look into. There's just a lot of things here to look into. Pay attention.
Before I ever learned about any of the violence that was going on behind the scenes. He reached out to me a couple of days later asking me for advice and told me the same exact story that Zach Sellers believed and then repeated on the Be Better podcast, which was that the relationship was toxic, they both said things and did things that they shouldn't have, and a bunch of other stories that genuinely made me believe Evan Johnson was the victim in the situation. He told me that he moved back to Nashville to go to church and get therapy and try to become a better man, and he seemed vulnerable. He seemed real, and he seemed scared that Kayla was going to get online and start telling lies about him.
That's what manipulators do. They're really good at what they do, you know, because they're manipulators.
Exactly what to say to relate it back to a situation that I was in that made me have sympathy for him and be on his side. I feel so dumb for ever believing him, but when I was in a similar situation, all I cared about was anybody treating me like a human being and hearing me out and being there for him, so that's what I tried to provide. We became closer, we would start FaceTiming, he was very and depressed, and eventually he told me that he wanted to come out to LA to escape and get his mind off of things for a weekend, so I invited him out. All we did was sit on the couch, order food, watch movies, but over the course of the weekend, I slowly started to notice that some of his stories were not exactly lining up. There were inconsistencies, and I started to get worried that I might be on the wrong side of things, and that was confirmed as soon as Kayla noticed that he was at my house and I had to lie to her.
I had to lie to her? You mean you chose to lie to her? You didn't have to do anything there, James. You could have easily had to have not housed him, but you chose to house him. And then you chose to, when she asked you, hey, like, is Evan there? You chose to lie to her. You didn't have to. Stop acting like you're a little 2-year-old that don't know what you're doing. You are your own human. You're like, what, almost 30? I'm 21. Get over it. Even I know better. Get over it. You have been in the public eye for so long. Don't even. You have been around so many people for so long and so many times. Don't even.
I didn't know what to do. I realized then that I was in the middle of a very
Also, I'll be right back. I need to get a charger.
messy situation that I should have never gotten involved with in the
I'll be right back, but I'm gonna let this keep playing, but I promise I'll be right back.
first place, but this man was staying with me.
I can hear it, by the way.
Later on that night, I told Evan straight up I was uncomfortable, I was upset that I had to lie to her, and that we could not hang out any further. He respected that, and the next morning, he flew home. As soon as Evan left LA, I immediately started making myself unavailable to him because I recognized that he was not the man he was telling me he was. But it wasn't until a month later, when Kayla uploaded her video, He Doesn't Love You, that I actually got to sit and watch how much of a monster he is. My jaw was on the floor for all 2 hours of that video. I could not believe what I was watching and seeing. The horrendous verbal, the violent physical. I was shocked. I was ashamed for not taking me and Kayla's conversation more seriously. I was embarrassed for ever believing that man's lies and manipulation. And I was angry with myself that I ever allowed that man into my home. It was horrifying, and I'm so proud of Kayla for being able to speak up. A couple of days later, I started getting messages on Instagram from Zach Sellers, Evan's best friend, basically warning me that Evan had lied to both of us and telling me that I should cut him off. I didn't see these messages at first until he made a public TikTok accusing me of still supporting Evan behind the scenes, and I messaged him right away because I was confused. His messages genuinely seemed nice. He seemed like he was checking in, warning me to make sure that I was okay and have cut Evan off because he knew that we were both told the same exact lies and stories from Evan. The only reason he even knew I was involved at all was because he was physically with Evan as his best friend, supporting him every single day. It took me 3 days with Evan to realize that something wasn't right here. It took Zach 3 months. So to act this way...
Okay, let's not do that. Let's not do that. First of all, let's not do that. How long did Zach know this guy? By the way, I don't know like anything about Zach. I've heard a couple things about how apparently he decided to make merch about this whole situation, which I heavily disagree with. Let's be a little bit fair here because I do not know anything about this dude. I'm just gonna play like an even field of neutrality here. To be a little bit fair, I know I was just sitting there being like, aren't you nearly 40? Aren't you nearly 30? And I'm like 21 and even I know better type deal. People do genuinely learn things at different paces. So, you know, there is that factor. So maybe you being with Evan for 3 days versus him being friends with Evan for 3 years or months or whatever. Like, I don't know how long they knew each other. But what I do know is Evan came to you specifically to avoid cancellation and understand how to handle this situation, while with the other guy, I'm assuming he was like just his friend or whatever, so he wasn't specifically talking about these things like openly and continuously with him, but with you he was. So I mean, given that factor, like when a person is talking about a situation a lot more and they're more comfortable talking about it with you and like, oh, you've been through it, so you get it, da 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 da, like they're gonna, you know, open up about a lot more things and be more comfortable and confident about these things that they're saying as compared to just saying it to some rando. You know what I mean? Like someone out of the blue. Like, so like, and on top of that, like, does it not occur to you that maybe this friendship with this other person mattered to this Evan guy? So he didn't want to like show his true colors to him, so he hid it from him and made it like not, you know, as obvious. While for you, you know, you're just like some dude that's helping him, and so like of course he's gonna be up your ass and praising you or whatever, but also like you're not, he's not gonna, I hope I'm making sense. What I'm trying to say is that like he holds that person to a whole different standard than you. Therefore, he's gonna show a different version of himself to you. So like, and I don't know, that's just like where I'm coming from as somebody that doesn't know like that person or really much about that situation specifically, because I don't know really anything about Zach. That's really all I have to say there. Like, let's not do that.
privately and then to get online as if I'm some monster was wild to me. What started off as a video of James Charles supporting Evan Johnson.
To be fair, I think you both kind of suck. Again, I don't really know, what was his name? Evan's friend, Zach, I think it was. I don't really know the dude, I don't know much about him, but what I've heard and what I do know is that apparently he decided to take it upon himself to make merch about this stuff. And I just, why? Maybe I don't know the full story, but that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like that.
Behind the scenes snowballed into more videos, more content, and then live streams. Every single night, Zach has been live asking for galaxies in exchange for showing more receipts. He's been asking his followers for their cities and locations so he can go on tour with Kayla after this is all over with. He's even been asking for donations on PayPal to fund a merch line. This has nothing to do with getting justice for Kayla and everything about making an opportunity for himself. And
No, I 100% agree. Because what? So he's where the galaxies comes from. What? No, yeah, I 100%, I'm not like, listen, I don't think James should be deflecting from himself here, but I do agree with what he's saying though. Like, I do kind of feel like this dude's just hopping on an opportunity, but I also do feel like James needs to actually address the actual problem here. Thank you. Thanks. Can celebrities start doing that again? Did they ever? Did they ever? That's a good question. I don't know if they ever did. But can celebrities start? I don't even want to call him a celebrity. Can public figures start? What the f do you want to call these people?
Perfect one came along when Be Better flew him out to Canada for their podcast interview. Aside from the timeline that I just told you guys, everything else in that hour-long episode is complete bullshit. To start rumors about somebody online is one thing. Unfortunately, I know that comes with the job, but to publicly accuse them of prostitution,
unfortunately,
is ridiculous. There is no proof, no evidence of any of the ridiculous claims that Zach is making because they did not happen.
What? Is this in relation to the weird James Charles possibly like making an with Evan thing? What is this in relation to? Because I completely forgot to bring up that a lot of people have been saying that apparently James talked Evan into making and wound up being one of the main funders and apparently also like made an appearance on it. I don't really... Drama is messy on the internet.
Which is why I have no choice other than to take legal action. But before I do that, I want to quickly take a second and clear the air on some things that have really set me over the edge. First and foremost, Evan Johnson and I did not, in any way, shape, or form, have a physically relationship. We did not have sex while he was here, and I did not, under any circumstances, pay Evan Johnson for favors, not in person and certainly not online through a secret OF account where I'm apparently funding his entire life. That is absurd. Not that it's anybody's business, but I do have an OF account. I'm a grown adult. I barely use it, but Zach, if you would like to see, I will gladly send you a screenshot of my transaction history. I have nothing to hide and I have not sent Evan Johnson $1 single. Zach claims to know all this information to be true because he pressured Evan into getting drunk and telling him what happened on the trip. I don't know if Evan lied to him to make the trip seem more fun and exciting, or if Zachy literally just made this up for funsies. I would like to believe that that isn't the case and that he was manipulated in this situation as well, but he claims to have seen a video on Evan's phone of him having sex with me. Zach, post it. If you have the receipt, if you have the video evidence, you can upload it. You have my full consent and permission. I've had far worse posted to me online that I didn't consent to. Go right ahead. But you can't because there is no video of something that did not happen. Be Better doesn't even stand by these claims because he's now added a disclaimer to their interview that says he was not able to verify a single thing that Zach said. Second, there's a rumor going around that I paid Evan Johnson's bail. This is not true. It is a public record that it was Evan's family who got him out. Kayla's own sister has confirmed this.
JC did not bail out EJ. I know who did, and I cannot say anything.
Third, there's a new narrative started by Be Better that I am trying to silence anybody that talks about this issue. First and foremost, this is literally the biggest thing on TikTok right now. I don't understand how anybody could possibly assume that I'm trying to silence people, but Be Better made a video basically saying that I'm working with YouTube behind the scenes.
But you literally just said earlier that you're gonna sue anybody that talks about it, but okay.
To manipulate their algorithm and get their video hidden. I truthfully wish this was possible. I've been making content for 8 long years now. There are videos on YouTube with 5, 10, 20 million views that if I could have gotten them removed, I would have. But Be Better, I know you said you're having your lawyers reach out to YouTube. So YouTube, I give you my full permission to release any communications between myself or my team to you guys about this matter because again, they don't exist. Zach has also now made a video claiming that my lawyers have reached out to him to silence him and to offer him hush money. This is not true. Zach, my lawyers cannot contact you directly, so instead they emailed your modeling agency because that is the only contact you have listed. There was no threat, there was no offer, they were simply asking for the contact of your lawyers. I told you I was going to sue you, and this is what the beginning of that process looks like. It really sucks that at this point I am left with no options other than to pursue a case. As for Kayla, I am so sorry that I ever got involved in this. I should have never believed his lies and manipulation. I should have never even responded back to him in the first place, and I'm sorry for hurting you. I genuinely do wish you the absolute best of luck, and I really hope that you get justice for what that man put you through.
I'm shook about the whole segment in the middle there where there's apparently footage and a video, and that apparently Zach got Evan drunk and that's how he knows this information. There's a lot about this situation on this end that I don't know about, but truly, I find it very disheartening that like this is overshadowing Kayla a lot. I don't think it should be. I feel like it's just a bunch of just bullshit. drama, and Kayla's situation is a genuine situation, like an actual experience. She is a victim. She is somebody who went through. She definitely has trauma, even brought it to court, had a case and won. Like, I don't think it's fair that James is overshadowing Kayla, but sadly that is the world we live in, is that's it's like the norm. I hate it, but... So again, to remind you guys, the videos that Kayla made about the situation will be linked in the description below here. Any comments or feelings you guys have on this situation, please let me know down below, because boy, do I have many. I just do not know how to put them into words right now. I don't know if blind reacting was the best decision, because it's really hard to piece together thoughts with all of the stuff I'm having to take in at once right now. I probably should have started with like a simple blind react, but here we are. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey today. I hope it was fun for you. It was overstimulating for me. Bye-bye. And please, you guys, go show your support for Kayla as much as you possibly can. That girl deserves as much love as anybody can send her way, and she did not deserve what she went through. So please send as much support to Kayla Malec as you can, and yeah, all right, bye y'all.